aquarium, and I hear you. Here's an interesting question to which there is no easy answer. Navya, you're the Instagram sort of product of the Instagram generation, and Instagram is full of filters and ways to make us feel better about ourselves. But sometimes we, and especially young girls, and study after study shows this, end up feeling worse about ourselves because everybody else seems to look better, thinner, happier. And it goes right to the debate around objectification of women, whose gaze is defining us. Even when we say it's our choice, how do we ignore the cues of mass culture, the pressure on us to be a certain body size, to have a certain color of skin, to dress a certain way? Have you gone through that struggle? And as a young feminist, how do you navigate that? What would you say to, young women your age?
I mean, she would actually be able to answer this better for me. But yeah, I think I did go through a brief period when I was in school where I wanted to, fit in, and the way that I would dress or the way that I would, pose for pictures wasn't me. And I suppose I was doing it because that's what I was seeing and that's what was supposed to be cool and that's what the other girls were doing. And I wanted to be a part of that. And I think I did even go through a lot of, self-esteem issues and not feeling confident about myself. And something that gives me a lot of confidence now today is my work and the platform that I have. So recently, I mean, ever since I started working, I've tried to use that in a manner that's true to myself. So even my Instagram, what I use it for is not, I would say, typically what it's used for, because I don't overshare a lot of my life or a lot of myself. But I try to put out a lot more about my work and issues that I'm fighting for or talking about. And I think that gives me confidence. I no longer feel like I want to fit in, or do what everybody else is doing. I want to bring something fresh, something new, use the platform for something that it might not have been used for before. Because I think that there's so many people today, especially young people, who are on Instagram. And like you said, there is so much of, the filters and the glamour that we see. I really want people to also use it to educate themselves, to be more aware. And if I can use my platform to do that, then I think that's what gives me a lot of confidence today.
I mean, thank you for saying that, because I keep telling every young woman I encounter that nothing will make you feel better about yourself than the central passion of your life, whatever that is. I mean, it can be writing a book, it can be, cooking a great meal, it can be whatever it is. But your self-esteem, I think in the end, all of us, it comes from what we love to do. But Shweta, as a mom, like you said, it's a rite of passage, and I agree with you. But then again, we live in this very different culture. This generation, Navya's generation, there's almost a sort of danger of the virtual being treated as the real. People almost forget what they actually look like when the filters are off, when you're not in good light, when you don't have the right makeup on. How do you give your children a sense of confidence that it's okay, whatever it is, whatever the size of your body, as long as you're healthy, whatever you look like? I mean, that's such an important conversation for young girls everywhere.
I agree with you, and it's more and more pressing today. There's so many young girls with such self-esteem issues, and they suffer crippling anxiety. And I think a simple answer of a parent is to say, life isn't perfect, young girls like Navya, who have a lot of eyeballs on them, they are not perfect. Navya will have a skin rash, and then she'll say, Mom, what do I do about her? Life is not perfect. There are things that bother her. Nobody is perfect. And it's that. Let's start celebrating those things. These are the things that make you you. And it's important to have something that anchors you, that makes you feel good about yourself. So if it's and it shouldn't just be about the physical. It has to be something beyond that. You have to have passions that are just beyond how you're looking on a little screen. And I think maybe taking some time out from this obsessive scrolling. I know it's easier said than done. Even me, I'm unable to control it, because a lot
Yeah.
of us, you're waiting in a waiting room, chalo, okay, you look through Instagram. But I think also a lot has to be pushed out, that this is not everybody's real life. Everyone's tweaking and everyone's filtering. And I think a lot of kids know that today. And as parents, we have to be there with our good old fashioned 80s and noughties sort of ethic and say, get on with it. This is not real life. And I think no one knows better how to navigate social media and what comes with it than this lot, because I mean, if I when I get trolled or if I get a nasty comment, I'm in shambles, and for them it's it's not a big deal. So I think also they learn not to take it so seriously. So they should apply the same logic to, body confidence and looks. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody looks as great as they look on Instagram. Nobody.
Absolutely. But Navya, I agree with your mom that like trolling, many of you have a thick skin about, some of us have acquired it. But body confidence, it is actually a real issue. And this is not, one would say this is an elite concern, but no, this notion of the self-image and the selfie is now in every small town, in every small village. And I just worry about what it's doing to self-confidence. And I wonder if you could use your own journey to shine a light on what you don't want other young girls to go through.
I mean, like I said, there was a period, when I was in school where I did, want to be like the other girls, and I didn't really look like them, especially, when you're going through that phase of growing up during puberty. Girls grow up at different ages, your body changes at different ages. Not everyone's going to look the same. And yeah, there were definitely times when I felt that, I'm not growing up as fast as them, or, I don't.
Also, you were in a boarding school with mainly Caucasian girls. You were
Yeah,
Indian, so that
I
was.
was. That's true. I was in a boarding school with, in England. So there weren't many girls who looked like me either. There were a lot of them were British, European, and that's also when I realized that, I look different to them, and their body, the way that they look, is completely different to how we as Indian women look. Whether it's our skin, our hair, and I think that was probably when I started accepting myself a bit more, appreciating it a bit more, because I did look different to them, and I was. Even the way that I talked was different. The kind of culture that I came from was different. And I think it's when you're thrown into a room with people who are completely different to you is when you start realizing things about yourself that actually make you very special, that you're special enough to be different to a girl, a room full of girls who don't look like you. And I think that's when I started appreciating it a lot more.
Tell me